in this video, we'll be looking at crazy conspiracy theory TikToks that will change how you see reality.
The world's scariest unsolved mysteries. This picture shows unsolved mysteries from the most well-known to the darkest of the dark. Some of these mysteries will drive you crazy and make you question everything. In this series, we'll be picking some from each category, until we reach Tier 10, which will apparently make you and me question our entire existence. Without further ado, let's get into Tier 1. This is Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, and it's one of the most famous unsolved mysteries of all time. Now, on the 8th of March 2014, the plane was flying from Kuala Lumpur International Airport to Beijing capital. However, the plane never reached its destination. After just over 2 hours, the flight disappeared off the radar, and ATC had no contact with the plane. Days after the mysterious disappearance, people started looking into it, but found absolutely nothing. Not even any debris was actually found initially. It's believed that the plane could have actually been hijacked. And it's also of course possible that the plane did just crash somewhere in the sea, but nothing was found. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss Tier 2.
Where that plane went. Where y'all think that plane went? On and on.
Welcome to the series where I'll explain all of these in 60 seconds or less. John McAfee is the creator of the McAfee antivirus software that literally changed the world as we know it. With his newfound wealth, he purchased an estimated $100 million worth of real estate. Then the housing market crashed in 2008 and he was forced to sell all of his homes for a whopping $5 million. He then moved to Belize and developed a huge drug addiction. While there, he got involved with a gang and even started his own police force. Months later, he claimed the government was trying to extort him for the remainder of his money, which later got him really big on cryptocurrency because it's decentralized. While this was going on, he was actively trying to expose the US and other countries' dark government secrets. This got so bad that he claimed 11 people tried to assassinate him, but he survived every single attempt. As if this couldn't get any weirder, one of his last tweets says the US is coming for me. He then tattooed whacked on his arm and said if anything happened to him, it wasn't him. 1 year later, they found him hanging in a prison cell. Do you think John was crazy, or do you think the government had him killed? Make sure to like and follow for tomorrow's video.
Scientists found something pretty terrifying at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, but they're keeping a huge secret. So years back, a group of scientists went down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. They went down because they wanted to find out what was really down there. They started the long descent, but when they reached the bottom, everything got very strange and out of hand. They started detecting a large anomaly on their detector, meaning that there was some kind of large creature or something nearby them, but they had no idea what it really was. And they started hearing a really loud sound, like a really low-pitched scream almost, hard to describe. But then out of nowhere, the anomaly just disappeared off of their radar and the sound just vanished. And the anomaly that they detected was huge, like absolutely colossal. So how the hell could it just vanish? And what was it?
Yo, like imagine going to the bottom of the ocean, right? And there's like some gatekeeper type creatures down there, right? Like some huge animals. And they don't do anything until a person comes down to the bottom of the ocean. And then they wake up like, hold on, you're not allowed in here. Like that would be some crazy stuff. And that might be one of the reasons why we never explore the bottom of the ocean, because like it's dangerous.
This woman received mysterious calls for months before something terrible happened. In 1980, Dorothy Jane Scott began receiving threatening calls from an unidentified man. It got so bad she started taking karate classes and contemplated buying a gun. But then on May 28, 1980, co-workers witnessed her car recklessly speeding out of a parking lot. The next day, her car was found burning in an alleyway with no one inside. Then a week after her disappearance, her parents began receiving mysterious phone calls from a man that were too short to be traced. They got a phone call almost every Wednesday afternoon. This went on for 4 years, until Dorothy's skeletal remains were found buried along with the bones of a dog. After her remains were recovered, her parents received one last phone call from the man who said, "Is Dorothy home?"
Welcome to the series where I'll explain all of these in 60 seconds or less. Agartha is the theory that there is another world just beneath your feet. Modern day science tells us that there's layers, there's crust, there's the hot magma, and there's even a core in the center of the earth.
Y'all believe in that? Right? This theory right here, this jawbreaker theory, because that's what that looks like, a jawbreaker, is like that you have all of these levels of magma underneath all of these levels of core or crust of the earth. So I don't believe it because, for one, I don't even think that we've been able to drill in the earth more than like, I don't know, a couple miles, if that, you know? So how are we able to know what's in the earth thousands of miles? You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure about this whole little theory, but the whole fact of Agartha though, what he's about to go into though, I like that idea.
Earth. But not everyone is convinced that's true. You probably think this is crazy because it goes against everything we've ever learned about Earth. But just wait until you hear this. In 1947, Richard Byrd flew over the North Pole. Byrd reported seeing mysterious land just above the North Pole and even said that it was the center of the unknown. He even reported seeing lots of grass areas where none should have been where he was flying. He described it as a completely different world. It's also reported that when his task force arrived, they saw this huge hole in the center of the Earth and they saw an advanced civilization beneath it. Here is where things get serious. When he arrived back to the United States, he was asked to go to Washington. He was questioned very heavily by the government from the claims he was making, and he was asked to stop talking about it. So are aliens light years away in our universe? Or could they possibly be just beneath your feet? Make sure to like and follow for tomorrow's video.
Another question for you, all right? What is an alien, all right? Is it a little green thing or a little gray guy with big black eyes? You know, is it a reptilian? What is it, right? The term that we use is extraterrestrial, right? That means that they're just an extra on this earth, you know, on this Terra. That's what they also call Earth is Terra. So they're an extraterrestrial, meaning from the extra parts of Terra. You get what I'm saying? So when you go out here, that's where you see the aliens. They're not from the parts of Terra that we know. They're extraterrestrials. You get what I'm saying? So that's my take on that.
The world's scariest unsolved mysteries. This photo right here shows all the world's unsolved mysteries, from the most well-known to the darkest of the dark. Now in this series, of course, we're going to be picking some from each category until we reach tier 10, which will apparently change the way you see the world. Now make sure to hit that follow button because we're coming towards the end of the series now and stuff's getting messed up. With that said, let's get into part 9. This is messed up. On June the 9th, 1912, a family was living in this house in Villisca in the USA. Now they were a happy family and they'd actually lived there for a while. And they all lived pretty happily in this house. One night they actually had the neighbour's 2 kids over to stay for a sleepover. So that night they all went to bed just like normal. But then things got weird. In the early morning the neighbour went round to get her kids and found all 8 people brutally murdered on the floor, and the murder weapon an axe. However, there was no signs of forced entry, not even a broken glass, and all the doors were locked when she got there. So what the hell happened?
All right,
The Simpsons predicted 2021. A few years ago, an episode broadcast on The Simpsons which showed all kinds of riots and crazy events going on at Capitol Hill in Washington. Now, of course, at the very beginning of this year, what happened? Riots at Capitol Hill. They predicted it. They even predicted certain events that happened on this day, such as monuments being stolen. Like what? How? Right, next up, and this is absolutely mental. So of course you know about the electoral college votes which determine who the new president's going to be. Now a few years ago The Simpsons broadcast this episode which showed the votes. And it is identical, exactly identical to the voting this year. Like what the hell? A 2000s episode showed billionaires such as Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, all of these people going up into space. And of course this year, well, it actually happened. How?
The Simpsons
Pyramids were built by aliens.
Gone
I know what you're
from
thinking,
over
Matt,
there.
what the hell are you going on about? Stop being such an idiot. Fair play, but hear me out. Now, I'm not saying that I believe this, it's just all theory, so don't judge me. Now, this is going to blow your mind, so unless you want to question everything, just keep on scrolling right now. Still here? Let's go. So Elon Musk, who we all of course know, said it's pretty obvious that the pyramids were built by aliens. And here's why. Think about it, the pyramids were built over 4,000 years ago, which is a bloody long time. Now how the hell were people so clever and had such good architecture to build this?
I got an answer for that, y'all. Check it out. 4,000 years ago, that was advanced tech. They were at an advanced time in civilization. They've been through resets, and we've been through many resets. And before, when they were making these giant monuments and these pyramids all over the world, that was a very advanced civilization. You know, they were old at that time, I believe, you know. Like, it goes way back further than 4,000 years. You got to think about that. They had all this time to build up this knowledge to be able to do these type of things. You know, like, it's not aliens. And it's not that hard to actually make sense when you think about it and you put the pieces together. You know, like, think about what we've done in the past 50 years in terms of technology and the things that we're able to do. Imagine if we had like 50,000 years, what we'd be able to do at that 50,000 year point. And that's probably where they were in civilization.
The pyramids are literally built perfectly. Like, perfectly. The maths that would be needed to make these would just be astronomical. So how the hell, before all technology and everything, did they manage to build these? Now, pyramids are also, of course, seen as a symbol of, like, the Illuminati and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's on the goddamn dollar bill. With the Illuminati eye, may I add. People have spotted a lot of strange things at the site of the pyramid, like countless UFO sightings. It's all pretty weird. And where they actually are in terms of their coordinates is extremely strange as well.
Here's some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 8. Almost all of us are familiar with the story that an asteroid caused the extinction of dinosaurs around 66 million years ago. But what if I told you that may not be what happened? This theory states that the beginning of humankind used to live on Mars, which was just like Earth at one point, with water even being discovered there. But as time went on, these early humans polluted and damaged the planet so badly that they needed to escape to survive. The people chose 2 people, one male and one female, to send to another planet to get a fresh start. Those 2 people happened to be Adam and Eve. They sent the pair to Earth using an escape pod disguised as a meteor. After crashing into the Earth, the pod disintegrated, leaving only traces of rock behind. They then repopulated and started the society we have today. But now, history seems to be repeating itself. Ever since humankind walked the Earth, we've polluted the Earth to an irreversible degree. So much so that Elon Musk, founder, CEO, and chief engineer at SpaceX, is trying to send us to Mars as soon as the year 2024. The mission's main goal is said to provide the potential to advance research in our solar system, but it could very well be an attempt to go back and fix our
World's most dangerous.
Yo, so that is crazy. I've heard, theories like that before, that there was populations on Mars and that Mars had a catastrophic nuclear war, basically, and that's what left that planet, uninhabitable. Like, no one was able to live there anymore. So therefore, that's, they did come to Earth or whatever. I've heard that theory before. I don't know how true it is, but it is a little crazy to think about.
Conspiracy theories. This picture contains a list of conspiracy theories from the most well-known to the darkest. Welcome to tier 7. Alright guys, I know you've missed this series, and the reason for the delay is because I was targeted. I made a video about Bohemian Grove a couple months ago, and ever since then I've received death threats, weird emails, and even got a horrible news article written about me. On top of that, TikTok started taking down every single video I've ever made in the past 2 years. But I'm back now. Today we're going to be talking about the theory known as Finland doesn't exist. You know the country Finland? What if I told you that it didn't exist at all? I know it sounds crazy, but just listen to this. First, ask yourself, do you know anybody from Finland? The population of Finland is around 6.5 million people. Now, if you compare 6.5 million to all of the people in the world, Finland's population makes about 0.09% of the world's population. That's not even a tenth of 1%, so 99.9% of people aren't from Finland. Here's where it gets interesting. We get these numbers from government census, and government census have a 1% error in calculating, meaning that 1% error is 10 times the size of the population of Finland. So statistically, Finland does not exist. I'm curious your thoughts on this theory. Make sure to like and follow for tier.
Whoa. He just blew my mind with that one, because the census already is crazy to me, but Finland doesn't exist? That's wild to even think about. And, 6 million people isn't a lot of people. I think, like, in Chicago, they got, 3 million people just in Chicago alone, and that's a city. So, this theory kind of holds a little weight to it.
8 tomorrow.
Is time travel possible? And does it already exist? This is terrifying and is going to make you question everything, so unless you want to be confused out your mind, just keep on scrolling right now. This is your last warning, keep on scrolling. So on a basic level, time travel is already happening, just because of time differences and flying. Like I've had it before, where you leave somewhere on Tuesday at 9 AM and you get somewhere else on that same day at 8 AM. Although it's not time travel, it's just because of the time differences, it's still the same concept. Well, this guy right here, Nikola Tesla, he was trying to develop some kind of time travel in the mid-1900s. However, he tragically died and nobody knows what happened. But it was estimated he got pretty close. But his files and all of his tests got sent to the American government, and they don't speak about it, they kept it very secret. I've also have lots of people claiming they're from the future, and claiming that time travel is real. Now, think about this. In the future, when technology is better, they'll probably be able to invent time travel. The past, the present, and the future are all at one. So if they have already developed it in the future, it does already exist for us, and these people could be real. Aliens exist, just not where we think they do. Now this is seriously messed up and is going to blow your mind. So unless you want to be seriously terrified, just keep on scrolling. I mean it, keep on scrolling. If you're still here, be ready. So we've all seen evidence about UFOs, and it's up to you whether you believe they're real or not. But this theory here, nah, this is messed up. Right, so we know in the world there are wavelengths. Like you tune into a radio station, you get to different frequencies, different wavelengths. Now this is also similar to when we talk about ghosts. Now the theory is that ghosts and stuff are still on Earth, but they're just on a different wavelength. Meaning that we can't see them, but they can see us and somehow interact with us. Which is why sometimes people claim they hear doors banging and stuff like that, but we can't actually see them. Now this is similar to aliens. What if they do actually exist, and are literally living all around us, like they've already come to Earth or whatever, but where they come from is just on a different wavelength, meaning we can't see them?
Yo, I think about this all the time. I feel like there's all type of different things happening right here, right now. I'm just not able to see them or feel them, or, they're on a whole nother, vibration. They're on a whole nother frequency, and I'm not able to see that frequency. For instance, if I'm in the car, and I'm listening to 97.5, right? I'm only hearing what's on 97.5. I'm not hearing what's on 106.3 or what's on 107.5 because they're on another frequency. Until I'm able to tune into that frequency, I won't be able to hear that or see that. And what if these extraterrestrials, or whatever he's going to talk about, have the ability to change their frequency to the point that where we can't see, hear them, feel them, anything. We only have our senses that we know of, and they are undetectable on our radar, basically.
So they're out there, but we can't see them. They could be living among us and we would have no idea.
Here's some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 6. The Lion King is one of Disney's most popular and beloved movies. For those who have seen it, I'm sure you all remember Mufasa's tragic death at the hands of Scar. However, it is not made clear what happens to Mufasa's body after Simba runs away. But there's a small detail in the movie that may answer this question. Doing some quick research, you will find that lions only have 2 natural enemies. One of those enemies is hyenas, and the other is other lions. In one of the scenes where Zazu is locked up, you can see Scar playing with a skull. But if you look up what animal it belongs to, you will see that Scar is playing with a lion skull. Scar also lives in his cave with the rest of the hyenas, and it is said that they barely have any food. It is possible that Scar brought Mufasa's body back to his cave, and him and the hyenas ate him together.
The strangest unsolved mysteries from each state. Today we have Alaska. This is One-Eyed Jack, and he's not your typical unsolved mystery because we know exactly what happened to him, where his body is, but we just don't know who he is. Jack was hitchhiking in Boise, Idaho when he wanted to go to Pendleton, Oregon. A driver picked him up and said that he was going to Alaska, and even though Jack didn't want to go to Alaska, he got in the car with him anyways. The reason we know exactly what happened to Jack and what makes this case so strange is that the driver is literally the person that killed him and then went to the police to tell them. The driver said that as they entered Alaska, Jack was being so annoying that he literally killed him and dumped his body on the side of the road. A whole year later, he led the police to Jack's body and then he went to jail. The driver said that before he got in the car, Jack showed him his Oregon driver's license, and he said that his name was John or Jack, but he went with Jack and it just stuck. A lodging accident had happened with his left eye, which is how he only had one eye. He was about 5'11" with long curly black hair. What was weird was that the police could not find an ID on Jack's body, even though the driver said that he showed him his license before. I wonder where it went. The driver died in prison in 2003.
What actually happened to the Titanic? Because what if I told you that it did not hit an iceberg and there is proof? Right, so we of course all know what the Titanic is. Everybody thinks that it just hit an iceberg and went down and that's the end of the story. But it looks like there may be more to it. Right, so first of all, there are many pictures of the ship before it's set up, and it appears to have some kind of burn mark near the engine and boiler room. Now of course, if a fire's going to break out, it's likely it's going to be in the engine, and this could make the ship go down. Now there's many photos of the Titanic before it's set off, and tons of people all say that there was some kind of burn mark there. Now here it gets even crazier. Right, so this guy right here is Benedict Bernard, and he was on the Titanic. Now this guy was a high professor, he'd written books, all of this kind of stuff. Now he survived the sinking of the Titanic and went on to do an interview after it happened. But he never mentioned anything, and I mean anything about an iceberg. In fact, what he said was that he heard an explosion before it went down. And hundreds of survivors also claim that they heard an explosion and never mentioned anything about an iceberg. So, what actually happened?
Right, is it
The
a
world's
cover-up, y'all?
scariest unsolved mysteries. This photo shows all the world's unsolved mystery, from the most well-known at the top to the darkest of the dark at the bottom. Now, as you know, in this series we're going to be choosing some from each category until we reach tier 10, which will apparently change the way you see the world. Now make sure to hit that follow button because we're getting to the end of the series now and it's getting messed up. With that said, let's get into part 8. This will mess you up. This right here is the Texarkana Moonlight Murders. In the spring of 1946 in Texarkana, Texas, a group of extremely violent and suspicious crimes took place. 5 people were brutally killed and 3 were critically injured by a strange unidentified man known as the Phantom Killer. This guy went around killing people in brutal ways, but no one knew why. On top of this, other crimes did take place. There was vehicles going missing, shop robberies, loads more. But obviously the main thing was the murders. Now this guy looked extremely scary, but no one to this day knows who he is and why he did it.
This rapper actually predicted the coronavirus in 2013. The rapper's name is Dr. Creep, and he has been going viral recently because of a song he released.
Y'all ever heard of Dr. Creep? I've never heard of Dr. Creep on any of my rap hip hop radar lists, you know what I'm saying? So I gotta search up Dr. Creep now.
Released back in 2013. The song is called Pandemic, and I'm just gonna play it for you and you'll understand why everyone is going crazy over it. Yup, so 8 years ago he said 2020 combined with coronavirus.
Body stack.
And what's also super creepy is that we don't know anything about him. The only pictures he posts of himself is him hiding his face in a gas mask. Now, many people think he's either a time traveler or part of the government or someone trying to warn us about things that are going to happen in the future.
I told you that there is something going on under Antarctica. It is absolutely mental and will seriously blow your mind, so if you're easily scared, keep on scrolling. Right, so we know Antarctica is pretty much just a completely derelict place, nothing there. If they wanted to hide something somewhere on Earth, it's a pretty good place. Now, all the nations came together to form travel restrictions in Antarctica.
Ain't that crazy? All right, all the nations come together, they said, no normal civilians can come on this land, period. Only military, science, and whoever we approve of can come on this land. Ain't that just messed up, y'all?
The nations can never agree on anything else, so why come together for this? Almost like they're hiding something. If you go over there on Google Earth, there is a part which is just completely blurred out. It looks like some kind of opening in the ground, but why is it blurred out? Now, where it gets crazy. Right, so in the late 1900s, a guy named Admiral Richard led an operation to Antarctica. But when he came back, he was changed forever, because he claimed that he saw what appeared to be openings to another world in there. And he even said that Antarctica is not what it seems. Pretty crazy, right? Now, on top of this, weird pyramid-like structures have been found there. I mean, have you ever seen just a series of mountains next to each other which look like that? I think not. Now, also here, extremely weird artifacts and fossils have been found. I mean, they've even found diseases frozen in the ice, like what? So is it possible that all of these nations are coming together to hide what is really going on in Antarctica?
I need to talk about this or I will explode. So last night I stayed up really late watching this video. It's called The Conspiracy Theory of Everything. It's on the channel Spirit Science.
3 hours.
About like an hour in, he gets into the conspiracy theory about microchips and how people want to control us using them. He then explains, as you can see here, there's already technology on the way. If you don't remember, basically back in like 2019, Elon Musk started coming out with this whole idea about like how he wanted to start doing microchips, start microchipping people, whatever. And as you can see in this diagram right behind your ear, he wants to put wires up to your brain. What these wires would do would cut off certain neural paths, creating depression and anxiety, which in theory sounds awesome, right? Which seems great, right?
No, it's
That's where
make
my
you less
problem
human.
comes in. Meet our intergalactic friends! Well, I guess you can't really say intergalactic when they're actually us. They're from Earth, but in the future. These creatures came back to warn us. The reason they look like that? They got rid of their emotions.
The government.
That's a crazy one, right? You know what's even wilder though? We don't need microchips. They've already got us, guys. They already got us. It's called a phone. How many people do you know can't go anywhere, can't do anything without their phone? It's always in their pocket. You know, it's anywhere on them. It's probably like this far away from them at all times. You know, it's always within hand's reach. So you don't need a microchip on a person. Just give them a cell phone, and then you'll be able to track everything that they do.
Is hiding something very, very big about our oceans. This is absolutely crazy and will seriously blow your mind and make you question everything. So if you're easily scared, keep on scrolling right now, trust me. Still here? Let's get into the video. Right, so in the last few weeks, a lot of very strange things have been happening off the coast of Florida. Now we're going to talk about the main really weird one. So only a few days ago, they exploded a gigantic bomb in the ocean. Now normally when they test bombs like this in the sea, it gets planned for ages before, but this wasn't planned at all. Like it was suddenly last minute, the next day they're exploding it in the bloody sea. Now bear in mind, this bomb would have cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it would have killed lots and lots of sea life. And this is where it gets crazy. The theory is that maybe this wasn't meant for just testing. Maybe it was meant to destroy the sea life. Like some kind of creature or something they found under there that needed to be destroyed. Who knows? Now it's about to get even crazier. Now we know that the ocean is of course linked to the Gulf of Mexico. So maybe something crazy, unexplainable, whatever came from the Gulf of Mexico, and they were trying to destroy it. Now take a look at this. This is what's been going on in the Gulf of Mexico recently. Huge fire in the middle of the ocean. Like a full-on fire pit in the middle of the bloody ocean. How the hell did that happen? Now they're saying it was from a small gas leak, but that does not look like a small gas leak to me. What is going on?
The strangest unsolved mysteries from each state. Today we have Connecticut. Back in the 1950s, Salisbury, Connecticut was a very small town where everybody knew each other. But there was this one girl that was just not fitting in with the other women, so much so that she actually got into a fight with a group of girls and left with a bloody nose. Her name was Connie Smith, and she was only 10 years old. She was at camp, and after the fight was over, the camp counselors just let her wander off on her own. She said she was leaving to return the ice pack to the nurse, but the ice pack was found in her bunk bed, and the nurse said that she never saw her. Instead, she left camp and headed down Indian Mountain Road. Some witnesses say they saw her about half a mile from camp, picking daisies and asking for directions to Lakeville. No one reported seeing her get into a car. In fact, nobody reported seeing her ever again. A lot of people believe that William Henry Redmond was responsible for her disappearance. He was a carnival trucking serial killer who killed an 8-year-old girl the year prior to this. He was only ever convicted for one murder, but he was a prime suspect in 4. The year that Connie disappeared was actually the year of the Washington, D.C. UFO incident. In fact, Connie went missing just a few days before this happened. Before this, Connie told her mother that she loved camp and never wished to leave.
Yo, these are some crazy TikTok conspiracy theories. They have my mind blown. But yeah, if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bell on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.